And we are in. Hi, how are you doing? I'm hoping that you get a chance to enjoy this one today. Um, Last week, well, first off, I hope you are doing well, and I hope you and yours are doing well and healthy and happy and not getting corona or everybody you know is doing fine. Everybody's wearing masks and staying away from everybody. But as we continue on down this path, I want to continue doing this even once eventually we get to the back side of all of this. I'm sure I'll retitle it something else, but I think for a while I'm going to continue to do cooking stuff because, hey, I like cooking, I like talking, natural. Last week I did ratatouille, sponsored greatly by a friend of mine who gave us some vegetables from her garden. We had a couple of extra zucchini left over. And so what I'm going to do is a favorite of ours. I'm going to make a zucchini chocolate cake. I'm going to post the recipe to this later. It's from a cookbook from my wife's hometown. And so it's just one of those things that a lot of places, the churches, the local community groups, things like that, would often have some of these different recipe books. And so the cookbooks, and as a result of that, we can benefit from the recipes that they have. Most of them are good. So I'm going to do this. It's a chocolate zucchini cake. First thing I'm going to do here, just because I know that I've got to get this started up so it can sit for a minute, is I have to make sour milk. I need a half cup sour milk, and so what you do with this is even though milk goes sour on its own, you don't want to let the milk go sour on its own. So we only need a half a cup of this for this recipe. If you are doing a full cup of sour milk, all you do is you take a tablespoon of lemon juice to a cup, and then pour in milk to get to 1 cup. So that's a tablespoon for every cup, so a half tablespoon for a half cup. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up, and because it just needs to sit for a minute, so it can get its chemical process worked through. Add a little bit of milk here so we can get to a half cup. Because you can, like I said, if you let milk itself go sour all on its own, yeah, it'll be sour, but it's also bad. So that's not healthy for you or anybody, and the last thing you want to do is get people sick while you are doing your cooking. So I've just added a little bit of lemon juice to the milk to sour that up, and I'm going to let that sit while I get the rest of this stuff started up. Again, today we're making chocolate zucchini cake. I'm going to be posting the recipe here in a little bit. First thing that we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull my stand mixer over. And something my wife and I were just talking about is that we will always, if you're going to spend money on anything in the kitchen, there are certain things that you really want to spend money on that are worth spending money on. And one of those is a good stand mixer. We found a really good deal on this KitchenAid, and so we went with it. Good stand mixers are a very good benefit if you want to do cooking. Same thing if you want to do for any other kind of cooking. Good set of knives. Good set of kitchen knives will save you more time and trouble in the kitchen, especially if you take care of them. So for this recipe, I've got half a cup of butter. I get half a cup of vegetable oil. Other than that, I hope everybody is having a good day today. Last week I made ratatouille with garden vegetables a friend of mine gave me. This week I'm making something a little bit less healthy. It is chocolate zucchini cake. I've got a couple of zucchini that are left over from what she had. Okay, so cream, the oil, margarine, and a cup and 3/4 of sugar. That's always a good amount of sugar. And like I said, I am going to post this recipe a little bit later. And again, a good stand mixer. There's a cup. And just about 3/4, because that's a half. And then a little bit of extra sugar, not a problem. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to let that run on low while I get the rest of this stuff put together. Let's get the sugar back up in the cabinet. And let's see here if I can see. I'm not sure if I can see comments. I always end up not seeing the comments if anybody pops in. Let's see here. No. I always wish I could see the comments, but I never can see the comments. So, there we go. And I normally also have another screen running at the same time so I can see them a little bit easier. Because right now I always end up missing them as people come through. And I don't feel like screwing with the phone to get to that point. So, that's still creaming. I want to add 2 eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla, and my sour milk. That's mostly creamed by now. Make sure, yeah. And that was softened butter, so it just goes right on. The eggs for these, yeah, you can crack them in right on top of it. I wouldn't recommend doing it while the beater's going because if you drop the eggshell, it's lost. This way, at least, you can drop them in on top. And if you get the eggshell in there, you can always save it. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm a big fan of cracking the eggs on the counter, not on the side of the bowl. Crack it on the side of the bowl, that's a good way to break your yolk. Alright, so the eggs are in. I need my vanilla. And so it's a full teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And we're going to put in that half cup of soured milk. Remember, this is milk that I've added. Oh yeah, that curdles up nicely. Just let it sit. Lock that down, start it out low, and bring it up a little faster. There we go. Alright, so now we're next to the fun part. That's getting beat well. I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients and then add those to the cream mixture. So for the dry ingredients, this is where it starts to get to the little fun stuff. I'm going to use a larger metal bowl because I don't like to get stuff all over the counter. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because that's mixed up really well. So for this, I am going to be doing 2.5 cups unsifted flour. And in case you haven't popped in here before, my flour, we always try to use Wheat Montana, made up in Montana, obviously. And really, it's always been really good flour. We used to go shopping at the home store up in Three Forks when we were living in Bozeman. Alright, so I need 2.5 cups of that. Hope everybody's having a good day. 2.5 cups unsifted flour. 4 tablespoons of cocoa. And we're lucky right now we just happen to have some Ghirardelli baking chocolate. And it's always one of those things, I remember being a kid, one day looking around in the kitchen cupboards and seeing that chocolate, finding out the hard way, baking chocolate is not chocolate. It's chocolate, but the chocolate that we're all used to has lots of milk and sugar added to it. 3. And 1 more. 4. All right, so we've got those 4 tablespoons of cocoa. Now for the fun stuff, half a tisp of, where's my half tisp? Half a tisp of baking powder. A full tisp of baking soda. That is still wet. I'm going to end up having to use this again. Just do it twice. Full tisp of baking soda. 1 and 2. Half teaspoon of cloves. And for this you want to do the ground cloves. You don't want to use the regular cloves. You can get the regular cloves. There you go. Half teaspoon of cloves. Half teaspoon of cinnamon. You've never heard cinnamon pronounced correctly until you've heard Eric Estrada pronounce it cinnamon. All right, so I'm going to stir this up, and then I'm going to beat that in to the mixture. Get a good sized spoon so this can get mixed up. And one of the things that I like to use in the kitchen, especially when I'm doing something like this, is I like using the cheap, flexible cutting boards like this. And the reason why I use those is because you can take these cheap, flexible cutting boards. Flour out of the way. I've got my mixer on, and I can use this to funnel that mix down in there so it's not all one big pile. There we go. It's one more thing to get dirty, but it's not a bad thing to get dirty. Then I'm gonna, now that that's mostly done, I'm gonna mix that in a little bit more. I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to, you can see that's already starting to chocolate up. I'm going to scrape the sides, make sure this stuff all gets in. Don't want to miss that. That's all good stuff. There we go. Gotta clean this so I don't get it all over the counter. Yeah, that's the reason. So while that's mixing up, I get started on the next step, which is the chopping up of the zucchini. This is supposed to be finely chopped, it said. Finely diced. I'll go ahead and I'll call that good. So for this, again, on my cutting board, what I've done is I've got a kitchen towel underneath there because that always helps the cutting board not move around. If you're sitting there and you're trying to peel stuff over the sink, it's just not going to work as well. I mean, you can do it. You get some practice in. This way you've got much better chances of not cutting fingers. Last thing you want to get is fingernails or skin trimmings in your cake. That's just nasty. Alright. And again, I want to thank my good friend Casey, who gave us these from her garden. Very, very thoughtful of her to pass them along to us. I know that she wasn't going to be able to use them all. Let's get that out of the way. Alright, that one's good. I'm going to go ahead and get this other one. And again, I like holding them down here on the counter so they don't go running all over the place on me. It's not hard to do. And so much kitchen work that a lot of people really kind of don't want to do is nowhere near as hard as what some people seem to think it is. These last little bits, big bits that I missed on the first pass. All right. Get that handle taken care of. The way this kind of grew is had a thin end on the end. It was almost like a handle. All right, and so I need for this. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn on the oven. So I'm turning the oven on to 350. There we go. Now I need to take these 2 zucchini, and I need 2 cups of finely diced zucchini. I figured I'm going to end up more than 2 cups. But I'm going to do what I can. Cut the tips off. And one of the ways to go about doing this on zucchini is, yes, like if I'm doing like ratatouille last week, I'm doing the thin slices all the way down through. For something like this, I'm going to do some lengthwise cuts so I can lay them down flat. I'm going to do some additional lengthwise cuts. And the reason why I'm doing these lengthwise cuts is because anytime you're prepping vegetables like this, you want to always do the longer work first, so it shortens up what you have to do for the smaller work. And then again, when you're doing them all, you can go through and when you're cutting these, you're going to end up with more regular pieces. I'll let the skin on some of that. That's not going to be an issue. Go back through. And so now, another way to do this is if you have a Cuisinart or other type of food processor, by all means, feel free to throw this stuff in there. You can get this stuff taken care of a lot of the same way. Very easy to do. And these are one of my favorite things I ever picked up. There's these cheap little scrapers. I'll take that, drop that in. Take this. All right. So that is just over a cup. So we'll be able to finish up this other one just fine. We've got some planks. I'll take these planks and I'm going to put them. Another way to do this is I can take these big planks, throw them on their sides, and then I can go down through them that way as well. Just like this. There we go. So I'm cutting these planks, cutting multiple planks at a time. You can cut lots of vegetables this way. All right, here we are. But again, if you're just popping in, doing chocolate zucchini cake, now I've got these long slivers. I can take these long slivers and I can cross-cut all of them. Someday I'll have 2 or 3 cameras. Today I have my cell phone. But you guys can see some of the stuff almost the same way I'm seeing it. Alright, I'm going to call those good. There we are. A little bit of extra zucchini. Alright, and I've got some extra sitting right here. Now for this part of it, now that I've got this, I've got the mix beaten well. I'm going to take the cutting board. I'm going to move it off of this stovetop and get this over here out of the way. And I am going to take this off. I can do it without killing anything. All right, this is some yummy, yummy, yummy looking batter. It's tasty too. Let me get this all out of there. If you have anybody in your household who likes licking the beaters, this is definitely good stuff for them. All right. I'm going to take this and I'm going to set this right over here so I can take the taste of it here in a bit. Now, with this going, I am going to take my zucchini, dump that right on in there. There we go. And I'm just folding this all in. And as you can probably guess, I am not going to be able to show you the finished product here live. One of these days I'll get all fancy and I'll start making stuff, and then I'll make stuff ahead of time and then have it so I can pull it out of the oven when I put everything else in. Today is not that day. All right. So, there we go. Got that all mixed in. I've got my pan here. I've got parchment paper in the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead still. Spray the sides. Spray the bottom. Just to help with the parchment paper. And I am going to take, just for a dusting of it, rub my hands together, get the nice dusting of flour in the bottom. Why? Because we like it that way. So to make sure I have not missed any of my steps, got the margarine, oil, and sugar, added the eggs, vanilla, and sour milk, beat that well, mixed all the dry ingredients, added them, beat that well, stirred in the zucchini. And now I'm going to be pouring it into my pan. And the oven is ready. There we are. scrape a little bit more off. As much in there as I can get. There we are. That right there. It's all hang around. It doesn't want to go. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to and into the oven it goes. And that goes into the oven for 50 minutes to 1 hour. So I'm going to set that timer. For 55 minutes. And I'm going to let that run. In the meantime, I'm going to lick my batter. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's been about half an hour for me to make all of this, and now it's in the oven for about another hour and a half. Well, another hour. Suggestion on the recipe is to sprinkle the top with chocolate chips while the cake is warm, and then once those melted down a little bit, you can spread them out. But I can tell you right now, this is some yummy stuff. I always love chocolate batter. So go ahead and throw comments in right now because I'm on my phone. It's a hard time seeing them sometimes. This is some yummy stuff. Again, we made chocolate zucchini cake. We will be throwing this together. I'll take a picture of it once it's out of the oven so you can see what it looks like. This is always a good recipe. It just falls right in together, and it sounds like a weird combination. It's a really good thing to have. Also, all of my other videos I have thrown onto YouTube. I just recently shared the link on Facebook. So I've got a lot of my stuff is on all my other videos that I've done so far are on Facebook. Like I said, I just copied all of them over to YouTube, so you can watch them there. Other than that, in about another hour when this comes out of the oven, I'll put a picture of chocolate zucchini cake and see just to show you what it looks like when it's done. Beyond that, I am glad you stopped in. Thanks for popping in. Go ahead and throw some comments. I'll get a hold of those once I get done with this and I can start answering everything. I'm going to share the image of the recipe for this here in the comments here in a few minutes. But thanks for popping in. I hope you guys have a safe weekend. Have a safe, take care of yourself, be well, stay healthy, wear a mask, stay away from people. Take care of those around you. Beyond that, thanks a lot, and I will see you next week.